Thanks to Sonos for sponsoring this video. Beyond turning the lights on and off, the thing my family does most in our smart home is listen to music. Sonos makes this super easy and reliable, and I've been using their speakers since 2010. Their newest Era 300 speaker has the word Era in the name, in part because I think it represents a big step forward for Sonos and spatial audio. When I first heard Dolby Atmos spatial audio music with headphones, it sounded fine, but I never really got the reason for it until I heard spatial mixes on an Era 300. The Era 300 is the first music speaker with a dedicated upward firing tweeter, which adds another dimension to spatial audio tracks. When you see music performed live, it fills the space you're in. You hear it all around you. And then when you fill a room with spatial audio, it gives you the closest thing I've ever felt to that live performance experience. My name's Eric Welander. Welcome to my channel, all about creating an effective Apple smart home. The Era 300 has a unique hourglass-shaped design that looks unusual at first, but starts to make a lot of sense when you spend time with it. Beyond the upward-facing tweeter, it has 3 front-facing tweeters to fill the room with vocals and melody, while the 2 separated side-facing woofers add bass along with a pair of side-facing tweeters for more stereo separation. In order to pack all this hardware, the speaker is deep at about 6.5 inches. The Era 300 uses Wi-Fi 6 to connect to your smart home, and that same Wi-Fi connection can also be used to make it work with your other AirPlay 2 speakers. You can add this speaker to Apple HomeKit and include it in scenes that adjust the lights and trigger Apple Music playlists or albums. But if your friend is over and wants to share music, press and hold the Bluetooth button on the back of the speaker to start pairing it with their phone. Now, if you want to connect a turntable or other line-in audio source, you can add a Sonos dongle to the USB-C port and have full control of it as a music source in Sonos. I also find Sonos alarms to be a simple but handy way to turn on music automatically at a specific time of day. Keep in mind, to hear Dolby Atmos spatial audio music tracks, you'll want to play the music through the Sonos app. Era 300 comes with built-in voice assistants, including Sonos Voice Control and Amazon Alexa. Now, if voice assistants aren't something you want to use, you can also flip the physical switch on the back of the speaker to mute the mic. The box is made from sustainable materials and is 100% recyclable. Sonos has also moved to use more screws in the design, making it easier to repair than speakers with glue on similar connections. To set up the speaker, plug it in and then open the Sonos app. The app should notice the new speaker and prompt you to set it up. It also prompted me to install a firmware update on my speaker. The key part of setup is giving the speaker a great place to live. Sonos recommends it has 2 feet of clearance above the speaker and 8 inches on either side, but it can work in more confined spaces like a bookshelf if you need it to. If you're mounting the speaker on a ceiling, Sonos recommends you turn it upside down. A single Era 300 sounds amazing in my 8 by 11 foot home office, and it should have plenty of power to fill a much bigger room. If one is not enough for your space, you can always add a second Era 300 later for a stereo pair. Now, once you have your location set, Sonos TruePlay tuning helps optimize the Era 300 or any Sonos speaker for your specific place. The Era 300 has a new quick tuning option that uses the mics on the speaker. You can also do advanced tuning, which is a short process of moving your iPhone or iPad around the room without your case on it. The Sonos app uses the mics on the device to calibrate the sound for the entire listening area. This is what I do with all my Sonos speakers eventually, and I find it really helps get the optimal EQ, but you don't have to do it right away. If you haven't liked spatial audio in the past, part of it might be the speakers you listened on, but it might also be the mix for that song. It takes good engineering at recording and mixing to make tracks come to life in spatial audio. And I think the options have grown a lot better since Apple first added spatial audio to Apple Music. A good mix doesn't use spatial audio as a gimmick, in my opinion, but sets up the sounds to feel like you're surrounded by them in a live performance. Everyone is going to prefer different tracks though, so let me know in the comments if there's some music you really enjoy in spatial audio or you want to hear in a good mix. And if you decide that Dolby Atmos spatial audio isn't for you, you can turn it off in the Sonos app system settings. Speaking of, this speaker gives stereo music the biggest soundstage and stereo separation I've ever heard from a single speaker. If you find yourself listening to lots of music in your smart home, I'd highly recommend Sonos speakers in your home. They work great with AirPlay 2, and whether you're interested in the Era 300 or the smaller Era 100 or any number of other size speakers, Sonos has something that will fit your needs. For me, working from home with great music playing throughout the day is much more comfortable than living in headphones. Alternatively, the Era 100 is a great option for filling smaller sized rooms at a lesser price point. Just keep in mind that the Era 100 doesn't have the Dolby Atmos spatial audio features. Now, if you want something more for a home TV setup, I recently reviewed the Sonos Sub Mini and have that video linked somewhere here on the screen. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.